So we're not gonna get on this. So my name is Petty
This
Rich,
is Mole Man.
and this is the road that's taken. We gonna move right on along because I'll be stuck on this because it bothers me.
Yeah, I
We're
can tell.
It bothers me so much. We're gonna talk about monotony. You know what I'm saying? What happens when we get beyond the healing? When we get beyond the things that others give us to move forward? How do we keep that engine going?
Right. Because you're gonna have your slumps.
You know,
I've had mine.
right? And when there's nobody to put coal in the system, how do you put it in yourself?
Find a way. I've found ways to just fucking finding different avenues to fucking make it happen, man.
Talk to the people, man. Tell them what your avenues be like.
Well, it's interesting because the last time that we got together, I was kind of like in a slump.
Right.
I think it was pretty obvious in the way that the way that I was addressing the camera or wasn't addressing the episode or whatever. But
Right.
I hit up my homegirl, and we had a talk, and it reminded me again, like kind of like with the conversation that we had after the recording last time. She brought like a different pair of eyes to the situation and was able to talk some sense,
Right.
help me see the light. And then honestly, it is a lot of it. All comes back to perspective and just remembering that like we're all going through our struggles.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it varies, from degrees, and just reminding myself that it's just like, yeah, you have these things that you're going through right now, but you have so much else going for you that you can't let yourself get bogged down in this. So just stay on the path that you've been on the past however many years, and don't lose sight of that.
Yeah. It comes down to a matter of bringing it out of yourself, right?
Yeah, because no one else is gonna bring it out of me.
Right. You know, because like
And I'm not expecting people to either. That's the other thing. A lot of people will go into like they get themselves in this mindset, and then they expect things.
yeah, we get into a mind of expectation rather than looking at it as what it is, which is tools to your own ascension to the person that you trying to be or feel the way you trying to feel.
Yeah.
We forget a lot of times that at the end of the therapy session, at the end of the epiphanies, at the end of the conversations between others, that you have, it comes down to you and what you apply in these conversations and in these conclusions. Because I cannot stress this enough. You are responsible for your own personal mental health at the end of the day. Nobody can tell you how you feel except you.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you what you thinking except you. You know what I'm saying? Now, before we go any further, myself and Mo Man are not mental health experts or licensed therapists, and we are by no means qualified to give professional mental health expertise. We're just enthusiasts. We're just two men trying to help those, to try to not help those, but more so try to reach out and empathize with those out there suffering similar things that we endure every day as men. This is simply an avenue to help people empower themselves and to see that they're not alone in their mental health pursuits. Now, if you do need mental health expertise or if you feel like you want to hurt yourself or others, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. I say again, if you feel the need of real professional mental health expertise, or if you feel like you want to hurt yourself or others, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. So with that in mind, you gotta really put it into yourself. You gotta really know how to motivate yourself. It's like, think about it like a furnace, right?
Yeah.
You put in, whether it be wood or coal, you have to regulate it. But like, let's go one up on a furnace. Let's talk about the old school locomotive chains that they used to have to put in coal or take out coal based on how much speed they want. You don't want to put too much coal in where you go too fast and you're just apprehensive about everything in life, and then it's just bound to explode and be cataclysmic. You don't want to put too little coal in there to the point you're almost not moving, because it'll be perceived as stagnation, especially when you can go faster at a more optimal rate. So you just gotta kind of it's a balance in there. You gotta, and then on top of that, it's about the things that you apply to your life again. You know, like for on the earliest and easiest sense of that would be like childhood, right?
Right.
Listening to your parents and the things that make sense to you and that you apply to your life and that you keep with you. That's with everything that you feel that way with. You got to start applying it. You can't just take it with you and just keep constant mental note of it. You got to actively participate in the wisdom that is given to you for your well-being. And you got to use your own personal discernment on how to apply it in the situations that you come upon in your own life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And once you get past all that, it's more so now, okay, I'm here now. It's a blank slate. What do I do when I don't need the tools that I've been using this whole time? This is where you start charting your own path.
Right.
This is where you begin to figure out what it really means to be you. Now that you're above a lot of the shit that's been keeping you down, now that you've gotten an idea of where you've been, what's around you, you can start building from there. Knowing that there's no influence behind the actions that you do, knowing that there's no underlying emotions going towards anything that you're doing. And that's sometimes hard because when you're constantly in survival mode, it becomes habit. So you gotta every level requires you to take on and to put away habits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because I'm not gonna tell you right now that every habit's bad. You pick up habits in response to the circumstances that you're in. But once you find yourself in newer pastures, I'm not saying greener, I'm saying newer pastures, you're gonna have to adjust accordingly.
Right.
Whether it be for better or worse. So just don't be comfortable. You can't be comfortable with a status quo in the pursuit of your ideal path or your ideal self. You know what I'm saying? Because even when you reach the ideal that you consider to be, you got to work to keep maintain that. Or better yet, you might find that the ceiling you were looking at was actually just another floor for you to go to higher heights. You cannot just leave yourself in a narrow position where you don't allow yourself to have the opportunity for growth on any angle. Mm-hmm. Because if you find yourself narrow-minded, right? I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, and they don't go that way, and you're not open to other avenues of and living, then you're gonna feel like you're not going anywhere because you're not allowing anywhere to come to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you've already resigned yourself to the path that you want to commit to, rather than being open to the worlds that are ahead. Nothing is linear in this life. We have to understand that not everything that we set forth on ourselves are only on the merits of how much effort we put into it. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to succeed either. It just means it's going to give way to another path that's meant for you. And nobody knows what that is because we don't live your life. I'm just telling you based off of what I feel when it comes to having to bring it into myself, when I have to get myself moving forward, when I got to pull myself forward, when I got to answer the question, why am I doing this? You know what I'm saying? You got to become that person who can answer that question.
It's interesting when you put it that way because I've in recent years I felt that life hasn't been like a direct journey. It's been more of like a shit ton of side quests that have been kind of like adding to the progress that I've been trying to like.
I'm learning that not every side quest need to be took.
And I wasn't, and that's the thing. Like at first, it felt like I needed to, but then I was like, no, that's not serving me properly. I had to choose wisely. It's just like I feel like certain ones have benefited more than others, and
because think about a lot of these beginner RPGs, MMOs, right?
Yeah,
where they do those tasks and they just be giving you bullshit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Where like for me, certain MMOs, RPGs, I'll wait until like the second or third location before I start taking on side quests, because you gotta figure out the quality of the relationships that you're making as we go down these roads and what they have to reciprocate for you, because we're getting older, dude, and people are gonna come and go in the most literal way sense.
It's true, man. Like It's a wild feeling to experience when you grow up thinking that you're gonna be keeping in touch with certain individuals, what have you, and then all of a sudden it just
You know
little
what
grow
I'm
apart, and
saying?
it's
They
just
don't,
like,
or they done been called home.
or that too.
We're at
man.
that age now, bro. Where we're not getting any younger.
I know.
I'm just being real. I'm just being pragmatic on the matter, and we have to understand that we're so caught up on connections when we need to be more so focused on connecting with ourselves, coming to peace with our own personal lives. We're trying to salvage relationships that can be gone tomorrow. And that's on any level of relationships. But you got to live with yourself until you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you live with yourself? Can you endure the things that you've been endured and give yourself a level of grace that you normally wouldn't give yourself? Or is that only reserved to people who are temporarily in your life? Because nobody's in your life permanently. Everybody has a time and a place in your life except for you. You're there for the long haul.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got to give yourself some level of something, bro, because at the end of the day, come and go, it's you. It's not about being, I'm not telling you to be selfish. I'm telling you to
Right,
acknowledge.
I don't want people to misinterpret.
Yo, don't misinterpret what I'm saying to be selfish and only think about you and to take your reins and think that this is all. No. What I'm saying is that a lot of people don't regard themselves and too busy worrying about how they make other people's feel or what other people think about what they're doing. But when they've come and gone, how do you regard yourself? That's all. It's not about being selfish. It's about, at the end of the day, past everybody, when you have to look yourself in the mirror, what do you see? When you have to write down on a piece of paper 10 things you like about yourself, what do you say? You know, it's just those little things that I would consider before, thinking that I'm saying be selfish. You got to consider, do you even consider yourself at all to even think about being selfish? Are you even in a position to be selfish, to even think about selfishness? Like, you don't even know who you are to be selfish.
Right.
And I'm not saying that as objective. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of places where we don't even know ourselves. We're hoarding. We're not hoarding things that we find good for ourselves. We're hoarding the status quo. You can't, if you don't know yourself, you just maintaining the status quo, something familiar. So, yeah, man, I just, because like for me, I've been doing this to myself for about 10, 11 years, just to myself, trying to figure out myself, trying to get myself on my feet,
Right.
having to, really look inside. And it took a while because it's easy to get distracted by others. It's easy to kind of fall into other people's tempos, but one day or another, you're going to find that shit comes and go.
And it was such a new feeling to experience, like having that realization. It happened however many years ago, and just not coming to grips with coming to
terms.
I guess, I don't know, about, well, wait, then what the fuck have I been doing? What am I gonna do from here on out? And then just because I've always had, again, issues with like confidence.
Right.
So I would say I want to do X, Y, Z, but I'd be lacking the confidence. And I think it's just like, before being able to get like chart down that road, it's just been working on that.
Yeah. I don't know. All I can really say is that for me, I don't know. It's not easy. I'm giving advice, and it's more so me looking in the mirror, because these are the things that I fight and strive to do every day, because, to be honest, it's hard to find your own fuel when it's easy to see all your faults and flaws front and center. When you know the roads that it took to get you where you are, it's not the proudest thing, but you're here. And we got to be proud of that much, that despite how unsightly it may be to others, it got you here. It got you right. It got you to right now, and and no one can take that away from you. People could say, "Oh, you're not as who you were 12 years ago," But when you
Sure
die,
not.
but when you die, right?
Yeah.
It's not gonna say you died 12 years ago, right?
Right.
You know you don't die with your failures. You die when you die. So what do you do when you live? Right?
Right.
Like we get only we fixate on what we haven't accomplished or what we aren't doing or what we could have done. But no, the world isn't looking at that. The world is looking at what have you put into this world, good or bad, and what have you committed to, good or bad, and what stands the test of time, good or bad. It's us who deal with the nuances. So if we got to deal with the nuances, why not address ourselves with a little more grace?
Mm-hmm. A little grace goes a long way, man.
A long way. Just a little grace to yourself, man. It's crazy how much we ask God for grace and mercy, but we don't give ourselves that same grace or mercy.
It's because we're too tough on ourselves.
Right.
We have to be, man.
How are we this tough on ourselves but expect our God to be more forgiving?
This is weird, huh?
Right? We expect God to forgive us of all our sins, which is cool, but
I think it gets convoluted, or what is it mixed up? It's just like as a means to enable shitty behavior.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just we find ourselves to have a more, because like doesn't that kind of take God's purpose out of his hands if we continually judge ourselves but yet we seek forgiveness? Why would we seek forgiveness from a higher power and we can't even forgive ourselves?
Is it the level of shame? Is it too much?
I mean, it's like, what's the point of asking for someone else's forgiveness? Let's go there. If you can't forgive yourself, it doesn't do anything.
No.
It doesn't solve anything. There's no purpose to forgiveness if you can't forgive yourself.
And then there's what of the people that say, "Who are you to forgive yourself?"
That's not for them. That's not for them. Forgiving yourself has nothing to do with other people.
Again, because you're putting it on others instead of
yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you forgive other people for other people, or you ask for forgiveness for other people's sake.
Right.
But when it comes to forgiving yourself, that's for you. It's like it goes back to how can you love, like it goes back to how can you love someone and you don't love yourself?
Yeah.
How can you be forgiven by someone if you can't forgive yourself? No, let me not say it like that. How can you expect forgiveness if you can't forgive yourself?
Is that something that you struggled with?
Yeah. Because it's like a lot of the times, for me, it's like I've been on my own for so long, right? And it's just like I could do whatever I want. But at this point, it's like, but who holds me accountable outside of God? I hear people tell me I'm a good man, I'm a kind man, I'm this and this and that. And it's just like, but how do I gauge that for myself?
Right.
So I started holding myself accountable even when nobody was around. I started being hard on myself even though if I had kept it to myself, nobody would know. It was just things like these that got me into a point where I just started hating myself. And I got really hard on myself because it's like, damn, you could do better and you ain't. Fuck this shit. Fuck. I hate my fucking life, to the point it just was like, what's the point of doing all that shit? How can I expect forgiveness? How can I expect love? How can I expect belonging when I can't even do all that for myself? You know what I'm saying? That's not fair to the people around you to pick up your slack.
It's true. Yeah, you're right.
So, and it goes on any level. So, you got to learn how to forgive yourself before you expect forgiveness from others.
What did you have that epiphany moment about that? And was it any like particular incident that brought that on?
No particular incident. It was, I would say, this epiphany came through this year. And I want to say I kind of started coming towards this thought last December when I was out of town. And I came back and I realized that, I'm looking for mental health. I'm looking for all this and that. And I point at it. But at the end of the day, it's like if I'm not applying it, if I'm not putting in what I need to put in. It doesn't matter who's wrong or who's right. I'm still gonna be left out.
Right.
Right? So it's like, what's the point of all this when I can just be more assertive in what I need to do? You know? And then as far as hating myself, it was just like, bro, I could hate on myself about my shortcomings, or I can be appreciative of, despite my shortcomings, I made it this far. You know what I'm saying? I've started giving myself more grace in that way, because it is true. Like I had half the information I got today. I was less knowledgeable. I was a little more this and a little more that, but yet here I am. You know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, I give myself a little more benefit of the doubt instead of just beating myself down to the point I don't care to pick myself back up. And then it goes to a point where I start trying to reach out from others and putting that burden on them to lift up something I couldn't hope to do. Now, I'm not saying don't rely on people. That's not where I'm getting at. It's difference between relying on people and being dependent on people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if you at a point where you can't pick yourself up and you might need a jump, that's one thing. Everybody need a jump from time to time. Everybody needs that little help and support. But when that becomes a part of your whole foundation of living,
Yeah.
that's when it becomes a problem. You know what I'm saying? When you're not the first choice and your pillars are your first choice,
Yeah.
that's a problem. Now you're dependent on a temporary system. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no guarantee these pillars are going to be in your life. What if you got a couple of homies and a homegirl and they all get married? Then what?
Back on your own.
Back
man.
on your own with no identity, and your pillars have been pulled from right up under you, and now you got to build again, but you don't have anything to build on because you never put the time to build in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, when you have strong friends, when you have a strong foundation of friendship, that is the time you build on yourself. When you feel like you have some really good friends who you can count on and be like, yo, I got that, that's when you really take that deep dive. When you don't, that is the time where you fall back and reevaluate your environment and demographic. You know what I'm saying? So but when you have, I'm talking about when you have good friends, when you are past your issues. We talking about the monotony part, right?
Yeah.
When there's nothing really going on, but you need that motivation, that's when you need to tap in. You know, talk to your friends who got who seemingly got it together. You might actually find out they don't, and they barely holding on by a thread. Or you might actually get some information that can keep you going.
Yeah.
Either way, if you have some good friends, it shouldn't be hard for you to make these conversations.
It's true. And it, at least from my point of view, my perspective, I should say, it's interesting to seeing who I choose to go to when I need certain conversations, you know, or guidance or whatever, some
Right.
insight from certain friends, because I remember, you know, I've seen them on their journey, and then
Right.
but there's also been times where I haven't seen, you know, the type of progress or work, what have you, that they've made for themselves. But just seeing who they've become,
Yeah.
like I'm still tripping out on that.
That's awesome though.
It is.
Because it means that the friendship was fruitful, because you didn't waste your time on somebody who was taking from you. And there's a lot of people out there who will just take from you. You know, and that's why it's incumbent of us to use discretion when dealing with people in our lives. But you know, because the thing is that as much as we do it for ourselves, it wouldn't be much of a world if we didn't do it for others. So I'm not telling you to close off your goodwill and your heart and love for others. But what I'm saying is don't neglect your responsibility, duty, and care for yourself.
That's important too, man.
It's just as important as the connections you make out externally. You got to make the connection internally, or it's all for naught. You know, I don't have much to say.
It's another form of maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to retreat, and you need some time for yourself to reflect internally, what have you, and then just again, from my perspective, constantly taking inventory because everything's changing.
You got to take inventory. Yeah, everything is changing from economy, everything. You know what I'm saying? We can go there one time, but like we're in a very precarious time. So this is the if you feel like you have a lot of empty time, if you feel like you got a lot of shit that needs motivating, this is the time where you really. This is a very good time to really just focus on yourself, focus on your well-being, focus on your health, mental health, focus on your nutritional health, focus on your spiritual health. You know, we really gotta take the time that we have in peacetime to really get ourselves together, to mentally prepare ourselves for anything that may hinder that growth down the road. But that's it for me. You got anything else?
I've been doing a lot of push-ups to push through all the negative habits that I've built up along the way.
I feel that, bro.
Like push-ups, like, do I really want to go and get into some bullshit that I don't need? No. So I knock out 25 and then be like, do you still want? No. All right, cool. So like that's just been one thing that I've been doing to kind of help me stay on point, on track, and just make good use of my time. Like when I do have a little bit of free time, it's just like even if when you do have some free time, like make some good use of it.
Yeah, man. That's you saw what I was doing with that the circuit board.
Yeah.
And I honestly want to get into drones.
What are you gonna start spying on people, man?
Nah, man.
Petty drones.
Like for me, I want to get those VR ones where you can see through the VRs. And then just kind of like race around and shit. That shit just sounds.
That
so
shit looks.
good.
It looks so nauseating. I've seen a few of the races here and there, like on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how do they not get sick? Man?
I saw a dude in Palmdale. Cause I used to go when I had my car. I used to go up there with Rusty and go to those big ass parks out there and just let them run around. And then I ran into this dude who was a former Air Force pilot, and he was flying his drone, and he had the VR goggles and stuff, and he was telling me about it, and I just saw it, and it was just really cool. So honestly, that's something that I want to invest in. There's just a few things I want to kind of invest in right now instead of kind of I don't want to tap into society when I don't need to right now.
Yeah,
I'm
solitude it does a lot of good for you.
I just want to explore myself. You know what I'm saying? As far as the things that I like to do, like I've been so focused on legacy, been focused on my insecurities for so long. I've been focused on the wrong things for such a long time that I failed to realize that there are things out here that I have yet to explore that I would love to. And one of those things is.
Are you gonna write them out? Make a list.
As far as
just to kind of go through all these different things that you want to experience.
No, I'm just gonna do it as it comes up.
Okay.
Like right now, I just got one of them with the circuit board, and the other one, the drone. I want to get it, but I'll probably get it when I leave. I don't plan on doing it because I live in the middle of the city, dude.
You can't make use of it here.
Nah, there's probably so many laws against drones out here, bro. Like if I get caught with a drone out here, I don't think it'll be good luck.
No.
Yeah, so.
Save the drone for later.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And then I want to wait until I get a car. So if I do still wind up here, I can just drive to places where I can fly my drone and just really enjoy myself. Like.
We've gone from kites to drones, everybody.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to have like, but then again, I could just go to Lancaster because I know there's plenty of spots out there I can just take off at.
Right.
And then like a lot of people think I'm just gonna be droning it. Like a lot of these drones, bro, have like 7-minute lifespans.
I didn't know that.
They don't have real huge lifespans like that, bro. Like you can only be in the air for so long. So it's not like I'm just gonna be up there just like, hey, no, bro. That's why. Like it's definitely got this reconnaissance. And then, bro, I was watching on television with these hogs. Because, they got a hog problem in Texas.
Right.
Man, I was watching.
Are you going to go hog hunting? Is that what you're telling me?
Nah, bro. Like, you're not listening. These white boys, These white boys was out there with motherfucking cannons and shit, bro. With
From
these
the helicopters.
nigga, they got night vision that you can see shit that you would never see in the dark, bro. I promise you, you would never see this shit in the dark if you didn't have this kind of technology. Even with your glasses and a flashlight, bro, like you wouldn't see this shit in the dark, bro. Like that's the kind of shit that they seeing out there, bro. With that kind of technology they was using on those fucking hogs, bro.
Right.
There was no hiding, bro. I saw that shit. I was like, there was no getting away. These niggas have $6,000 night vision goggles and shit, bro. Like, nigga, you can see orbit. You can see planets move. You can see all that shit, bro. Bro. So my point is that there are so many accessories. You know what I'm saying? That I didn't know existed. That my money might have my attention.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's so much to live for, bro. There's so much you can do for yourself, bro. For example, you could buy $6,000 night vision goggles. You can buy a couple of $1,000 drones. I'm just saying, bro. There's some shit out there right now that can really take up your time, bro, if you allow it. If you allow that shit, I'm telling you, get back to your I would say keep it simple. Get back to the basics. Have some fun. You know what I'm saying? Fuck around a little. Buy an Elon Musk flamethrower. You know what I mean? Like, live a little. Don't let life get you down. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? If I thought, you know, what did Randy Marsh say? I thought this was America. Ain't this America? I thought this was America. You know what I'm saying?
I think we could end it on that.
On that note.
It's been Mole Man.
It's just been Petty Rich.
Take care of yourselves.
All right, y'all.